Wow, I am trying to comprehend what I just witnessed. Saturday night's main event just went off the airwaves. This is your amplified review. But bear with me because we gotta navigate through this together. As I said, it just went off the air and I'm still trying to fathom what just happened. I guess you start at the beginning. We're going to cover the whole show, but we have to talk the Cena situation and Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque McMahon, the doofus son-in-law, because this is going to be a massive story going forward. But first and foremost, John Cena tapped out tonight. The main event was finished off by John Cena tapping out to Gunther. The one thing that could not happen, and Helmsley booked it. And I don't want to hear going forward, well, it was Cena's call. Cena wanted that to happen. This is Helmsley's show. I don't care whose idea, who originally pitched it, who approved it. It's the one thing you cannot do. We all expected Gunther was most likely going to win this thing. All right, so you have John Cena pass out. No harm, no foul. He never gave up. He passed out. Or maybe he takes 6, 7, 8 Gunther bombs. He gets destroyed. We saw Solo Sikoa destroy John Cena. Cena didn't tap out. The one thing you couldn't have Cena do was give up because his whole character is never give up. That's why the fans were so... It wasn't just frustration. That was there mightily after this matchup. But it wasn't just frustration. It was straight confusion that this would be approved by numbnuts. The schnozman, the doofus son-in-law. You can't... John Cena, for over 2 decades, has said never give up. It's the one thing. It's the one thing he has hammered home since day one. You just never give up. And Helmsley had this dude give up. I don't care if Cena sincerely asked Helmsley, just let Gunther tap me out, man. I don't care. This is where Helmsley has to use any smarts in his dome piece, which I honestly believe after tonight there is zero smarts in Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque McMahon, the doofus son-in-law. Nothing. This guy does not deserve to be anywhere near professional wrestling. Forget leading a company like WWE. Helmsley should not have a job in pro wrestling. I wouldn't even allow him to be the janitor in Stamford, Connecticut's WWE headquarters. Absolutely not. I wouldn't have him be a lunch lady. I wouldn't have him landscape outside of headquarters. He has no business being around pro wrestling. He was a professional wrestler that got mightily over because his schnoz was up Vince McMahon's ass and his little sledgehammer was up Stephanie McMahon's ass. That's it. And I'm not going to begin to go over the list of people that he has mowed over in the process, that he has stabbed in the back, thrown to the curb, chucked to the wayside. And now he's leading the company. What has he done? What has he done to earn the position of the lead guy in WWE, the Vince McMahon, the bootleg Vince McMahon? What has he done? He slept with Stephanie McMahon? Can we just be honest with it? He slept with Stephanie. That's it. Well, basically in his day, he was a good heel. Of course. Because McMahon always had him in the right spots. Because he always begged for those spots. Because he stabbed his fellow wrestlers in the back. Test ring a bell? I say it all the time on my channel. On the show Unreal. Was it Unreal? Or one of these recent documentaries, Helmsley was so emboldened, flamboyant in his admission that it was him that took Test out of the storyline. He went to Vince, he said, get Test out with Stephanie McMahon, put me in the Stephanie storyline. So poor Test was booted because of a fellow wrestler, not Vince McMahon. Helmsley advocated for Test to get out, and he told Vince, put me in that storyline. And the second he was putting that storyline, he started putting the moves on Stephanie McMahon. Forget China. You're stabbing China in the back because that was his girlfriend at the time. And you stabbed Test in the back, a fellow pro wrestler, one of your boys. He doesn't care. He was mowing everybody over just to get to the top. And there he is. He positioned himself perfectly. As CM Punk said, he'd like to think the company would be better when Vince McMahon was done and gone, but it's just going to be controlled by his idiotic daughter and his doofus son-in-law. Here we are in 2025, and everybody in that arena was booing Helmsley square out of the building. Everybody, anybody who has any semblance of logic and common sense knew that Helmsley was going to run this company into the ground, straight into the gutter, beyond repair. You thought Vince was bad his last 5 years? I'll even go further. Vince McMahon's WWE, his last 5 to 10 years was just bad television non-stop. Helmsley somehow said, hold my coffee, I'll show you even worse. Helmsley's WWE has been worse than anything Vince McMahon could try to throw in the garbage. No, it's the one thing you could not do, is have John Cena tap out, give up, because his character is all about not giving up. That's why the fans were so pissed off. They were pissed off because of the outcome up front, but the fact that it doesn't make sense is what pissed them off. That is what is the most annoying for fans, especially fans that follow WWE, is that not only is it just bad these days, it doesn't make sense anymore. Helmsley's WWE, there's non-stop face versus face matches, non-stop heel versus heel matches, non-stop mystery masked storylines. Who attacked Jade Cargill? Who attacked Jacob Fatu? Who attacked CM Punk? Who? It's the mystery man. Who's behind the Americano Grande or the Venti? The tall, the medium, the large, the Frappuccino, the Cappuccino. Who is under the mask? That's all he does. It's like a toddler booking with his crayons and his coloring book. Why? Because that's where he fits best. Booking for the 0 to 12 demo. The ones that chant, "This is awesome," 75 times a match, and they don't question anything that the doofus does. Instead, they accept it, they consume it, they get back in line for seconds. And if you question Paul Levesque McMahon's booking, he says you're not a real fan and you can f*** off. Well, tonight, an entire arena. It's sad on one hand, it truly is, that it got to this point. I tried to wave the red flag and let everybody know that this is going to happen, man. Everybody is going to eventually revolt against Hunter Hearst Helmsley. At one point, he was the savior, right? He was supposed to correct everything that Vince McMahon got wrong in those last years. He was going to save WWE and bring it back to the promised land. Oh, how quickly in just 3 years he has turned everybody against him because he's that bad at what he does. And he should never have been in that position. Sleeping with Stephanie McMahon should not have been a prerequisite to become the bootleg Vince McMahon. But on one hand, it's sad that we've gotten to this point. But on the other hand, it was music to BC's ears to hear everybody unanimously boo Hunter Hearst Helmsley relentlessly until he was out of that arena. It was long overdue. These are the fans that pay a lot of money. They're going to yell, "This is awesome, you deserve it, fight forever." They're going to chant for anything, cheer for everything you put in front of them. As long as you don't do anything stupid, these fans will be eating out of your hand. You got to really screw up to have that crowd turn on you like that when you're the boss. Cena tapped out because never give up is his whole entire gimmick. It's his character, but more than that, as he's told us 1,000 times a week, it's who he is. Never give up. It's not just a phrase. You don't give up. And to watch this dude just tap Gunther on his arm. All right, I quit. I give up. I'm done. Let me just hit the shower so I can go film my next movie. Do you see why the crowd was pissed? Do you see why fans are pissed off? It's not just because they didn't get their way or they didn't get the finish that they were hoping for. No, it's beyond that. It's that nothing ever makes sense with Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He's taken something we all love and he's making it not fun anymore, man. It's like you can't even follow along with it. If it's just bad, that's one thing. You can wait till it gets good. When it doesn't make sense, it's like old Double J used to say, Jeffrey Jarrett. When you confuse them, you lose them. WWE has lost nearly 50% of their viewers in one calendar year. One calendar year. SmackDown is down over 30%. SmackDown has dwindled down to their last million in viewership, and the Red Brand can't even qualify for the Netflix Global Top 10 list. They're struggling to maintain a 2.3 average globally. Globally. Domestically, a 1.1. They rested on the name John Cena to try to pack as many arenas as they could this year, and that's all they had. They didn't even have a story for John Cena this entire year. We'll turn you heel, but we don't have any plan. So on a random SmackDown, he just turns face out of nowhere. He just picks up a mic and says, this isn't working. Let's go back to being a face. That's basically what happened on a random SmackDown. During a promo, he just turns back face because that's how bad the heel turn went. Then he goes into a matchup with Brock Lesnar, doesn't even have a storyline. Then a month later, he's in a matchup with AJ Styles, doesn't have a storyline. Then all of a sudden, his last opponent, which we already knew was Gunther months in advance, they do a whole 2-month tournament just to come to the conclusion that it's Gunther. So why didn't you just give us a storyline? Cena was in Boston. Cena was in MSG. Cena was at Survivor Series. You could have done a lot of stuff between Gunther and Cena. You had Gunther win a stupid tournament. And if all of that wasn't bad enough, on Cena's last match, he just taps out. And you wonder why fans are furious. It's because it doesn't make sense. It's not just bad, it is absolutely stupid. Again, we can do bad because then we can just wait for good. But when it's stupid, you can't fix stupid most of the time. That's what sucks. I learned that a long time ago. You can't fix stupid. You can't fix Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He's too stupid. So again, I don't care I don't care if John Cena begged for this outcome. I don't care if Michael P.S. Hayes or Brewster Pritchard. I don't care if Maven came back out of nowhere. I don't care if Trish Stratus, Eva Marie, Goldberg or Gilbert. I don't care if the Macho Man, the Ultimate Warrior, and Hulk Hogan all came down from the Great Yonder. I don't care who pleaded for this. Hunter Hearst Helmsley is the one who approved this, and it is one of a string of botches this year alone from Hunter Hearst Helmsley. But that's all he does. I can just go back the last 3 years and just come up with one mega botch after the other. Rock tells him, I'm going to be taking on Roman Reigns, and he still has Cody Rhodes win the Royal Rumble, knowing the fans are going to be like, what? And then he just has Cody give The Rock his matchup at WrestleMania, even though he won the Rumble. How did Helmsley think that was going to go over? He takes Austin Theory with his Money in the Bank briefcase, and he has him cash in on a mid-card title, the U.S. title that he already held a few times in the past. Why is Austin Theory cashing in on a mid-card title in the middle of a Monday Night Raw, mind you? And by the way, he lost. He lost. And here's the kicker. A couple months later, something like that, he was doing a backstage interview, and he said the reason he cashed in on the mid-card title and not the world title is, let's face it, he was never going to beat Roman Reigns anyway. He was never going to beat Roman Reigns anyway. Oh, but I'm not done. And then a few months later, he says, I'm putting myself in the Royal Rumble so I can earn a shot at the world title that Roman Reigns had, by the way. So he had the opportunity with the briefcase. He said there's no way he was going to win it anyway, so I'll cash in on a mid-card title. And then, months later, he decides I want to fight 29 other people. 29! Just to get the same opportunity I already had that I didn't want. Does that make sense? Guys, are you comprehending what I am saying? If it sounds confusing, that's Helmsley for you. But this is what happened. This is what we're trying to follow along with. Brock Lesnar attacks Cody Rhodes the day after Mania. What was that, 39? The original plan was Cody wins the title from Roman. Roman gets to go on his vacation. Cody has the title. Brock attacks Cody because the whole stipulation beforehand when Roman took on Brock was that if after that match, that's it. Brock cannot take on Roman anymore for that title. So it all made sense, right? Cody wins the title, so now Brock's attacking Cody. But Helmsley made a last-minute audible. He kept the title on Roman. And he still had Brock attack Cody. Nobody knew why, and we never found out why. For the next 3 months, Brock and Cody faced each other 3 times. Not once did we ever get a reason why. Michael Cole had to put it in the storyline. 3 months later, we still don't know why. Brock has a problem with Cody. We never found out. And then just a few months ago, Brock Lesnar's attacking John Cena. We don't know why. To this day, we don't know why he attacked John Cena. Helmsley doesn't care to give you any answers. You want to know the truth? It's because he doesn't have the answers. When we say he's a numbnuts, when we say he's an absolute idiot, when we call him the doofus son-in-law, it's not just we're throwing names at the wall. We're telling you what he is. He's literally the doofus son-in-law. Everybody in the wrestling world, I'm talking about the boys and gals that are in those walls, they know how stupid this guy is. They know damn well if he didn't sleep with Stephanie McMahon, he would not be running WWE, bro. Anybody that uses any logic and common sense can tell you that. We'd be here for the next 5 hours, bare minimum, just going over all of the mega booking botches from Hunter Hearst Helmsley. How about Chelsea Green defeating Julia for her U.S. Championship? A heel pinned a heel. Oh, and by the way, Chelsea had her feet on the ropes. So the heel didn't just lose her title to another heel. She got out-heeled. That's brilliant. And then 2 weeks ago, Julia and Chelsea are fighting each other on the outside, heel versus heel, while inside the ring, Alba Fire is facing Jade Cargill, heel versus heel. Crowd is silent because nobody knows what's going on. Who are we supposed to cheer for? Nobody! And you can go on and on and on. Rusev being out-heeled by Dominic Mysterio, a heel on heel. How does this help Rusev? This is the booking, guys, that we are getting now for 3 straight years. BC has been calling this out every week, every show. Every week, every show, I am as honest as I possibly can be with you guys. But unfortunately, there's enough people in the community that continue to blow smoke up Helmsley's ass. Maybe they're trying to get employment in WWE, and they think Helmsley is the ticket. Don't want to upset the chief of creative and content. Well, BC, you don't got to worry about that, man. My goal isn't to try to get employment with one of these promotions. I'm just trying to make professional wrestling be as epic, be as fun, as entertaining, as captivating as it was for me all these years. I want that same thing for generations to come. But to get that, we have to always be honest. This is not the best product we could be getting right now and should be getting. You guys know that. BC knows it. We're not even close to the best product. And with TKO tag teaming with Hunter Hearst Helmsley, they don't even care, bro. TKO just wants to get every penny out of you, while Helmsley wants to do the least amount of work but get the most airtime imaginable. He wants to be the face of the company. He wants to play the role of Vince McMahon, but he doesn't want to do the Vince McMahon work. So yeah, that's got BC fired up when I see something like tonight, because everything before that was amazing, man. The build up to Cena and Gunther, Lillian Garcia was rocking. It was electric. A lot of older talent in the first few rows. It was such a great feel, man. It's everything that made BC fall in love with pro wrestling, and I was getting it in that 20-25 minutes leading up to the finish. And I was okay with Gunther winning. More than okay. I'm like, you just got to do it perfect because this crowd's going to be pissed no matter what. They're really behind Cena, but this is a big, big L for Cena and huge W for Gunther. If done correctly, man, it'll be beneficial, not detrimental. All they have to do is don't make Cena tap out, right? That's the one foolish thing, because his entire character is don't give up. You don't want the dude to give up, and that's the last thing you see, right? Cena's last match, and he just gives up. That's like the dumbest end to any movie. Like, you never go to a sequel. You never want to talk about that movie again if a movie ended like that. And the movie ended like that. Cena just tapped out. Crowd furious. And then Helmsley, this is how just stupid this guy is. And he's so emboldened, right? He honestly thinks his shit don't stink. He comes out and he's the first person leading an entire locker room of legends, old-timers, all the new wrestlers, the future, right? NXT. And Helmsley's leading them all out, right? He's the general. And the boo was so massive instantly. Man, BC, again, it's sad on one hand, but on the other hand, it was music to my ears, because it was like I was a proud father at that point. And all of these individuals, whether they watch BC all the time or once in a while, or maybe they've never caught a BC upload and they were just feeling enraged on that night. But an entire arena just started booing relentlessly and ferociously, started booing the chief content and creative officer of WWE, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque McMahon. They booed this dude out of that arena nonstop every time he tried to get on the apron or hug Cena or clap. Anytime he was shown, he was booed viciously. I mean, the wrestlers were trying not to crack a smile because they're like, damn, this is wild heat, man. CM Punk, Cody Rhodes are like, damn. John Cena had to plead to the crowd, guys, come on, I agreed to this, man. I agreed to this. Maybe he's telling them, hey, it was his part my idea. I don't know, but everybody knows that the buck stops with Helmsley. So it doesn't matter what your idea was, Cena. This is not your WWE. I mean, you got to protect a lot of things here. The one thing you can't do is give up. So I'm still trying to unpack all. This is a massively long cold open. There's only 4 matches, so we're going to breeze by the review anyway. So I think this is a massive story right now, guys. Cena tapped out. Cena gave up when his whole character is don't give up. Don't ever give up. So fans are like, wait, none of this makes sense. This was so bad. And then on the flip side, tonight was the night where everybody just turned on Helmsley and finally saw this dude for the doofus that he is, for the fraud that he was. Helmsley exposed himself tonight. He's been doing it for 3 years. Everybody is just late to the party. If you follow the Amplified channel, if you're part of the Amplified unit, we were already on that train. We already knew the real colors of this dude. And the doofus douche that he is. The scrawny little weasel. And it looks like he's finally out of time, weaseling his way through this industry. And he tells the audience that is trying to help, say, hey, this isn't good enough. Can we do better? He tells them to fuck off. Could you imagine the boss of any company telling their consumer, their own audience, their own fans, the boss now, telling their own fans to fuck off if they don't like what they're watching? That's what happened to this company. That's what has happened. And tonight, finally, collectively, the whole wrestling world told Helmsley to fuck off. So it's sad on one hand, and I'm super proud on the other hand. Super proud, man. But I'm still trying to unpack all this. I'm trying to fathom it. I'm trying to comprehend this, man. I mean, I'm still in awe that Helmsley was booed like that. Because again, these are the fans that they want to cheer Helmsley, man. They don't care. Anything he does, they think it's the greatest thing. They blow smoke up this dude's ass. You really got to screw up for them to boo you out of the building and not even want to see your face. I mean, this is the guy who was supposed to save pro wrestling, right? Heavily cheered. He goes, oh, are you ready? And they all go, yeah, Triple H, Triple H. And tonight, everything BC told you about the doofus son-in-law came to fruition. Tonight, finally, the wrestling world stood up in unison. Whether they've ever seen a BC upload or not, they said, this guy is a fraud, this doofus son-in-law. So I am trying to comprehend this. I'm going to go over the first 3 matches, and then we'll go over the main event, and maybe I'll kind of approach this maybe a little bit more clear-headed. Because again, the event just got over. I'm trying to unpack all this. It's wild. None of this makes sense. I'm trying to make as much sense as I can for you guys. But, I mean, this happened, man. Cena tapped out. I don't know any other way to put it. It's the one thing you can't do. You know what's wild is I just put an upload up yesterday, and right now it's only for channel members. It's the thumbnail is like the reality of Cena's new 5-year deal. And in that upload, the last conversation, the last big discussion that we have is how we're seeing too many tap outs lately of top babyfaces, or at least babyfaces whose character should not be giving up. And we talk about LA Knight, who every promo says, I will not quit. You're going to have to go above and beyond because I ain't quitting. A half an hour before he tapped out to Gunther, LA Knight literally said, losing is not even an option. And then a half an hour later, he's literally tapping out. And then over in AEW, Eddie Kingston is known to be a fighter. Inside the ring, outside the ring. He's just a brawler. Bad attitude, just wants to fight. And he's tapping out to Samoa Joe. Now, we know Samoa Joe is a beast. Gunther can be a beast, that's fine. But Kingston's character, can you just have him pass out? Like, Kingston's an actual fighter. You know what? I mean, if you're in a bar fight, the fight's not going to end with you tapping out, right? If you've ever been in a bar fight, the person you're fighting or you is going to pass out. You're not going to tap out in front of everybody, man. That doesn't happen. So Kingston wouldn't tap out. LA Knight, losing's not even an option. I will never quit. And then he just taps out. It doesn't go. But this was the ultimate Helmsley botch. Having Cena, who for over 20 years says, I never give up. You never give up. And in his last act in WWE, he just gives up. What in the world did we just witness? Only in Helmsley's WWE can it be this absurd. And only in Helmsley's WWE can you consistently botch and piss off an entire wrestling planet. How many times this year has Helmsley been booed? We've never seen it to this level. But WrestleMania season, not just WrestleMania season, everybody was pissed off at this dude. And Travis Scott finishing WrestleMania did not help. SummerSlam was botched top to bottom. And everyone was furious. WrestlePalooza, I can go on and on. This whole year, it seems like fans have been pissed off at Helmsley. But tonight, that's it. They said enough. Get this guy out of his position. That's how you ended John Cena's year? It was already so bad. One of the worst book years I've ever seen. I understand he's won a world title to hit 17, and he won the IC title so he can check off the Grand Slam champion column. But come on, where was the booking in any of it? This was a horribly booked year. So I guess it makes sense that that's the way it would end. An exclamation point to a really badly booked year for John Cena. It is sad. It should have been so much better. A tap out. Guys, stop. If there's anybody going, oh, I don't see the problem. I think it was pretty badass. He tapped out, basically. What can you say? Gunther's a badass. Guys, if that's honestly what you're saying, just not the channel for you. That's all I can tell you. There's probably several for you. This ain't it. Because we're not going to lower our bar to that type of stupidity, man. Everybody on the planet knows the one thing you don't do is you have a guy who for over 20 years says never give up, and then say bye. That's what you'll remember. I gave up. I passed the torch to Gunther. No, that didn't help Gunther because it was so badly botched. Don't you see? And then for the next 15 minutes, we tried to pay homage to Cena. Everybody tried to throw a parade. And for 15 minutes, we showed a video package and everybody's out there clapping. But you couldn't get in the moment, right? You couldn't properly send John Cena off the right way because fans were confused and furious. So every now and again you cheer for him, but then you boo Helmsley, and everyone you could tell is trying to fathom everything. It was so bad. Even Cena knew several times. Cena's trying to calm the crowd down because there was still more festivities. This was sad. Cody and CM Punk are breaking character because Helmsley's getting booed so badly. I mean, this could not have been any worse. This could not have gone over any worse. And you know what the shitty part is? Or just the wildest part, I should say, is they probably thought this was going to be just fine. Everybody would be okay with, maybe a little pissed off because John didn't win. But once everybody's out there and we start celebrating John, they'll quickly forget that Gunther even won. They'll forget that John tapped out. Bro, we ain't forgetting that. So anyway, that is your lengthy cold open teaser. I don't know, what did we go, 4 hours? But guys, it just went off the air. I have so much to say. I have a lot more to say, but I'm going to move on with this. Because we will go over the main event anyway, and I will be saying more about it. But yeah, wild. I mean, I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for BC's thoughts. You probably heard from everybody else that busts out content, but you guys have been waiting for the main event. I know everybody else is like the salad, right? The appetizer. You guys have been waiting for BC, the steak, the Wagyu beef. Been waiting for my take on this. Oh, I had a lot to say, man. Cena's tapping out when he had no business tapping. It's the one thing you can't do, and then Helmsley is booed out of the arena. Let's go over the show, and we'll get back to that main event in just a little bit. Sound good? Because there was 3 other matches, and I do want to get to it. Now, unfortunately, we have to start off still bashing Helmsley because everything is always about Helmsley. Starts the show off. He ends the show. There was a moment where Stephanie McMahon was doing his "Are you ready?" And I'm like, wow, Helmsley actually took himself off camera for that line? Had his wife do it? Now we know why, because he was already planning to finish the show in the main event. But this show starts off, Saturday night's main event, 12/13/25, with random celebrities in attendance. And that, like always, all of these celebrities, I've never heard of any of them. I can't even, none of them, guys. There's musicians, there's D-list celebrities, I've never heard of any of them. But we have to give them camera time because these are, quote, real celebrities, right? Like Michael Cole told Corey Graves, "You're not famous enough to keep your job, so when McAfee comes back, you're kicked to the curb." And Corey Graves got punished because he was upset about that. So we always have to show the celebrities. Then a John Cena hype package narrated by who else? Helmsley Levesque is narrating this. He narrates everything. He has to narrate everything. Every video package, any commercial, anything has to have Helmsley front and center. But that is not his job. His job is to oversee creative and content, not be the content. Let someone who actually does narration narrate. What a concept. He doesn't even have the voice for it, man. He sounds like Kermit the Frog after smoking 3 packs a day for 35 years. He tries way too hard to do a Vince McMahon deep voice instead of his whiny, nasally voice. It's cringe. Stop being in all of the commercials. Stop doing all of the voiceovers. You're not the star anymore, and it's no longer about you. Capiche? Got it? Get it? Good. Then we go to his friggin' wife right after. No lie. After we have a narrated John Cena hype package by Hunter Hearst Helmsley, we go right to the dude's friggin' wife. And she says some words about Cena, and then an attempt to pump up the crowd by screaming, "Are you ready?" So the beginning of the show is just as much about Levesque McMahon's as it is Cena. Sounds about right, right? I mean, if you follow this channel, you know how many times we've told you everything is always about Helmsley. Helmsley has made himself the face of the company. It's not Cody. It's not Punk. Certainly isn't LA Knight. It's not even Jey Uso, who they gave the rocket to. No, it's Helmsley. And it's the Helmsley-Stephanie show. Just like the Hall of Fame. This past year, who's in the Hall of Fame? Puts himself in there. Hunter Helmsley. Who goes in right afterwards? Steph McMahon this year. Tag, you're it. So no, I absolutely had to spend 2 minutes on that because I've had enough. Every single video package has to have Helmsley narrating it. I could see if he's got the voice for it, right? Like one of those like professional, you ever see the movie trailers? In a world, right? Like I could see if it's like back in the day, man, everyone doing those. I don't care if it was Gene Okerlund. Music to my ears. Hunter Hearst Helmsley, nails on a chalkboard. And you wonder why the creative sucks in WWE under Helmsley. You wonder why this product sucks. There is no creativity. It's because this guy is doing anything and everything else other than his actual job. Why is he finding time to narrate and do commercials like all of the WrestleMania commercials? Why is he making the time for that and not just locking himself in his office to deliver good wrestling shows? Finally, fans are pissed off. It's about time. So that's how we started the show. A lot of Helmsley and a lot of Stephanie. A lot of the Levesque McMahons. But the good news is we got Pyro. Hey, man, it's the small things. Listen, when there's no positive on these shows, every single show, I'm searching, right? I'm looking for like a little grain of positivity that I can speak on. There was Pyro, and it was nice Pyro. If only we had that every Monday and Friday to begin the show, instead of wrestlers showing up to work with their coffees, their luggages, and their stupid smiles. The first matchup was Cody Rhodes versus Oba Femi. This match was 9 minutes in length, and the crowd was left hanging when all was said and done. The match started slow but picked up nicely after roughly 5 minutes. Oba kicking out of a couple of Cody cutters, and Rhodes' ear was sliced open. Oba kind of sent him over the commentary table, and Cody landed kind of awkward. His ear was sliced open, and he was bleeding sense on. The crowd was just starting to get into it, though. But right when they were starting to get into it, Drew McIntyre hits the ring and attacks Cody, and the match ends in a DQ. Crowd was not happy about that at all, which ended up being a theme of the night. Post-match, McIntyre takes a Cody cutter and is subsequently dropped by Oba. The faces then show mutual respect, which was another theme of the night, as you will see as we go over these matches. So Cody and Oba holding each other's arms up. And most of the crowd was booing, to be honest. I mean, there was some doing the golf clap, but a lot of fans were just kind of pissed off. Like, come on, man, what was that? 9 minutes, it was starting to get good. Drew interferes. Okay, if you're going to do something with Drew. But he interferes, and then he just gets beat up by the faces, and then everybody shakes hands. So the crowd was actually booing, and again, that was music to my ears. You have to let the doofus son-in-law in the back in Gorilla know that he's doing a terrible job. This was Doofus playing it way too safe with Cody and Oba, and unfortunately at the expense of Drew McIntyre. I will say this, though. Only if booked correctly, mind you, which, unfortunately, because Helmsley is in charge, is not going to happen. But if somebody who was competent was in charge, and this was booked correctly, I would not mind seeing Oba versus Drew later in life. But you can't get your hopes too high. We've already seen how Helmsley has booked Drew McIntyre these last 3 years, and it doesn't give you any hope for how Oba would be booked via Helmsley if and when Femi hits the main roster. Sol Ruca versus Bayley was next. 10-minute match. The finish was so odd. Sol hits her incredible Soul Snatcher finisher, but there's no pin. Bayley slips underneath the bottom rope and Sol can't get her back in the middle. She's struggling really hard, even though it looks like she's not even trying to pull Bayley. But I guess that's how it was planned backstage, is there's so much time that is wasted on you trying to get Bayley in the middle of the ring that by then it's not even worth pinning her. Why? If Bayley's going to lose anyway, just have her lose to the Soul Snatcher, bro. In fact, it gets even worse. Moments later, guys, like what was it? 20 seconds later, Bayley is rolled up and defeated anyway. Soul with the W. So again, why not get the pin off the Snatcher? She hits the Soul Snatcher and then 20 seconds later has to roll up Bayley for the W. It's 20 seconds. What? It's the Soul Snatcher. I can't even. I can't even with this company. Everything has to be approved by Helmsley before it goes out there. So he saw this finish and he's like, I love it. Soul Snatcher. But you're struggling mightily hard to get Bayley in the middle of the ring. So you know what? Go for the roll up. If you didn't see this show, you're probably thinking, well, BC's exaggerating a little. Maybe it was a Soul Snatcher, and maybe a couple minutes later was the roll-up. No! Guys, it was like 20 seconds, man. So bad. And yes, post-match, more mutual respect, just like the first match. Bayley and Soul, it's a love fest. Lyra's in on it. Zarya. Everybody's just besties, right? I'm surprised Alexa and Charlie weren't out there doing their Care Bear hearts. We're putting our hands together and it forms a heart. See? I'm half the heart, that's the other half. It's a heart. Everybody's buddies, right? Lashua, Legend, and Nia will run out there. Everybody's buddies. Mutual respect. We weren't done either. You're going to get more mutual respect at the end of the next matchup. It was Javon Bouncy Evans and Leon Slater versus How to Train Your Dragon Ball Z Lee and AJ Styles. The crowd had no idea who Leon Slater was. I mean, he comes out and the whole crowd is like silent. Everyone's like, who? I'm sure there's some people in the audience who are like, TNA, man, you don't watch TNA? Everyone's like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Leon. Yep. But this kid is like 21 years old. He's got plenty of time to leave his business card to the pro wrestling world. 60 seconds into this match, this is a true story. Again, I'm not exaggerating on any of the time here. 60 seconds into this match, the 0 to 12 demo starts chanting, "This is awesome." No lie, everybody did like one flip apiece. And that all of a sudden got a "This is awesome" chant. That's not awesome. Everybody did one gymnastic move. And they just could not wait to shout, "This is awesome." I really do believe that there was plants, a lot of plants in the crowd. What that is, guys, they do it all the time, WWE especially, is they will put a bunch of plants so that they get chants started. I've seen so many plants when I've been at these events in the past, and you literally can see who they are. And they'll start standing and they'll try to get So I think they were so heavy because you got 3 to 4 different "This is awesome" chants. And get this, guys, the match was only 5 minutes long. They just kept chanting it. It would wait 45 seconds and it would start again. Sometimes nothing even happened. They just be, "This is awesome! This is awesome! I swear to you, it's awesome!" It was wild, bro. I've never seen or heard anything so absurd during a match. They were doing some cool gymnastics and flips, sure, but nothing out of the ordinary with these wrestlers. And again, the match was only 5 minutes. And they chanted it 3 or 4 times. The poor souls. They're just trying to justify paying an absurd amount of money for their tickets, obviously. So they're like, we're going to make this awesome. AJ Styles with a massive botch at the finish. You got to feel bad for Styles, man. One of the best pro wrestlers I've ever seen. Still to this day, one of the best, by the way. He's lost a few steps, no question. I think he said he's got about a year left anyway. He's going to hang up the boots. But still sucks. A massive botch toward the finish. He went for a phenomenal forearm and just totally fell off the top rope, nearly landing on his dome piece. Now, at first when this type of stuff happens, because she tried to sell a leg injury immediately, So you start to think, okay, wait, I have to see another angle. Maybe it was part of the match. But less than a minute later, he's defeating Leon Slater. So you know this was a straight-up botch. Unfortunately, again. I got to give credit over to Leon Slater, though, because props to Leon for jumping right on him for a cover and not panicking. A lot of times, man, veteran wrestlers would be like, oh, man, where do we go from here? Immediately, Leon Slater just dove on top of Styles. But then they got it back on track because the ref had already called go home at that point, clearly. So then we went to, what was it? Styles hits the Styles Clash. Yeah, I thought for a second he went back to the Phenomenal Forum, but he was probably traumatized at that point. So he went for the Styles Clash on Leon Slater. 1, 2, 3. Styles, How to Train Your Dragon Ball Z Lee, end up retaining their titles, and I don't even know if the titles were on the line, were they? I don't care. After the match, everybody hugs and shakes hands and makes Christmas plans. They salute. Play a game of Monopoly. Played in traffic together. Picked up bad habits. I don't know what they did. It was a mutual respect fest last night. What was it, about an hour ago? Mutual respect first match. Mutual respect, finish of the second match. Mutual respect, finish of the third match. At least you knew going into the main event, Cena and Gunther, no matter what happens, they're not going to be shaking hands. Although, you would have the ultimate love fest. The entire locker room would be out there with former stars and everybody in the industry showing love for John Cena. So I guess you did end up with every single match having a love fest at the end. Except if you're one person, Helmsley, the doofus son-in-law. He was the one hated person in this whole story. But before we got to that, there was a little segment. Miz hijacked the show. He demands respect. R-Truth or Ron Cena or Santa Claus, whatever character Truth is playing. He says, I saw what you did, Miz. You did something inappropriate with Nick Aldis's balls. And the person whose spot you stole in the tournament is right here. And Joe Hendry appears. And the faces take out Miz. Complete with a double 5-knuckle shuffle. And a lot of smiling. I didn't mind this, man. At least R-Truth got airtime. Because you know damn well he would just be sitting and catering. Actually, I take that back. He wouldn't have even been invited. Everybody would be invited to celebrate Cena when the match was over in the main event, except for like R-Truth, LA Knight, and maybe some others that organically, accidentally got themselves over and didn't need the company holding their hand. Helmsley hates that. The main event was Cena versus Gunther, Cena's last match in WWE. The pomp and circumstance beforehand was WWE at its finest. It's pro wrestling at its finest. And it's these moments where nothing can compete with professional wrestling. I just loved all of it, man. Cena thanking everyone front row for being there. Kurt Angle, Trish Stratus, Eve Torres, Kevin Owens, Haku, Elias. And I love how he snubbed Nick Khan, the WWE president. Because Nick Khan had his typical puss face on. And like he always does. So Cena was like, this is a party. So take that thing you call a face and kick rocks. I love it. Snubbed Nick Khan. Didn't even shake his hand. Lillian Garcia was amazing the entire night. Before the show, she delivered one of the greatest editions of the national anthem. And her introduction for Cena was one of the best I've ever heard. Lillian Garcia was on her A game, bro. Now for the match. What was actually really funny was the 18-49 demo pretty early on in this match. The 18-49 demo told the 0-12 demo to sit down with their little "this is awesome" chants. And the 18-49 proceeded to belt the ring with "fuck you, Gunther" chants. F you, Gunther. And they weren't just saying F, all right? You kept getting muted nonstop on the Peacock. And then that was followed by "asshole." So the 18-49 definitely took over there. There was plenty of AAs and Gunther bombs. And the match would ultimately come down to the sleeper choke. And it was going so good, man. I'm like, this could actually end with a sleeper choke. It looks like it's going that way. And he's going to pass out. Cool, man. What a way to go out. You know what I mean? You gave it everything. Like you've always told everybody, all the kids, all the adults, anybody going through hard times, never give up. And that's something that is going to far exceed his wrestling career. So clearly you can't give up. But you passed out. You still lost. But damn, man, you did not give up. You gave it everything you had. He was just the better man. You hanged up your boots. You hanged up your Jordans, your Yeezys, whatever he's wearing. You hung up the shoes, bro. And at first he was fighting off. And no matter what he did, Gunther was relentless in getting that sleeper choke on. And then out of nowhere, this little smile comes to his face like he's accepting it. I do like that. It's a little bit of Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, right? You know, I'm sorry. I love ya. Super kick. Flair's done. You know, it's that type of theatrics and storytelling. A lot of people might not even have noticed. But if you go back, you could see Cena kind of smile a little like, okay, I have to come to the realization that this is where it ends. But then you just quietly go off into the night. You proceed to pass out. That's even more beautiful, man. Come on. You can't give up, bro. Please don't tell me you're good. And no joke, he tapped out. He just taps Gunther. He just tells Gunther, I give up. Dude, I give. Never give up, he tells everyone for over 20 years. But when it got too hard for him, I give up. I quit. The crowd was in shock, and I knew immediately. For you guys that follow the channel, you guys know I am never wrong when it comes to gauging either the wrestlers or the fans or the general feeling in the wrestling community. Even if it's with the bubble fans, I call them, right? The WWE, quote, universe, the ones that let Helmsley off the hook all the time, love everything, chant this is awesome all the time. Even those fans, I can gauge when they've just they're really pissed. Like they know this is not right. Or it doesn't make sense, or it doesn't feel right. Guys, I knew instantly this was bad for Helmsley. This was bad, and it's bad for Cena. This is going to backfire way worse than they ever could have imagined. They probably thought backstage, it's going to piss people off. They'll get over it, because for the next 15 minutes, we're going to celebrate you, and they'll forget about it. Nope. I knew this was bad because I'm like, this is not just furious. This is confusion. This is wait, you'd have to be incredibly stupid to think that this is the way any movie should end. Any pro wrestling career match. This is up there with Travis Scott ending WrestleMania. Or cashing in on a mid-card title and failing. Or it's just all the other boneheaded decisions that the doofus son-in-law has come up with, and he just somehow keeps topping himself. He somehow keeps going, you thought that was real bad? Hold my coffee. And he continues, or hold my pacemaker. He continues to top himself with worse creative until somebody is eventually going to have to remove him. Right now, he's untouchable, right? Because everybody in TKO doesn't know a damn lick about the wrestling business. They know that Helmsley trained right under Vince. What they don't know is how far his schnoz was up Vince's ass. But that's all they know. They think Vince, and they think, okay, Helmsley was his right-hand man. So nobody can know more than he does. They don't understand. He's the dumbest guy for this job. And the company can only start to really succeed once he's gone out of the company. I used to say, you don't even have to fire him. Just put him in a different position. Give him a nice office job. Give him more money. Give him a huge raise, but keep him out of the creative and content. Now, I've changed my tune. This guy has no business being anywhere around pro wrestling. He's that stupid. John Cena tapped out. Crowd was confused. Crowd was pissed. A bullshit chant just started immediately. After the confusion, you started to see people go, wait, that really just happened. And a massive bullshit chant started. They were furious, but pulled themselves together for a thank you Cena chant. Right? It was almost like you don't want to just totally piss away Cena. He's trying to bow to everybody. So fans are like trying to be honorable and respectful and show their last props and goodbye to Cena, but they're so pissed off and confused that Cena almost was an afterthought. They were so enraged with Helmsley. It's like Helmsley enjoys making it all about himself, actually. It's almost like he's more than okay doing this because it's about him. And so Cena takes his final bows, and Helmsley comes out. He actually came out with all the whole roster behind him. And guys, instantly, if you would have told me that the closing moments of Cena, whether he won or lost, you knew everybody was going to be showing that appreciation. But if you would have told me an entire arena would be booing in the final minutes of Cena's career, I would have said you done fallen on your dome piece a couple, 2-3 times too many as a kid. An entire arena booed Helmsley as he came to the ring. And then a massive, you fucked up, you fucked up, you fucked up. A massive you effed up chant. There was a moment where Shawn Michaels looked over toward Helmsley like, damn, bro. This is wild. Cody Rhodes and CM Punk are trying to give Cena their title so he can hold them up, and they were cracking a smile because they're like, dude, this is not good. This is not how this was supposed to go. The moment is no longer about saying goodbye to Cena. You have an arena full of pissed off son bitches. Confused, outraged. And then Helmsley gets up on the apron, and a massive boo just engulfs the ring in the arena. And he tries to tell Cena, look up here, and they show a video package. Really well done, by the way. Now, what's the song? I Lived? But I don't even know who the group was, but it's been around for years. A lot of tributes have been done with that song, but this was so well done. And it's just so sad because every time Helmsley would appear, which is a lot of times during the video package, he always is, you would hear the boos, and you would see Cena he's in the moment and tearing up. But then when they would boo Helmsley, he kind of like has to crack a smile because he's like, damn, this is ruining everything. Helmsley was just relentlessly booed, and it took away from the entire moment for Cena. The entire end of Cena's career botched so badly by the doofus son-in-law that it became about the doofus son-in-law, like always. And you couldn't properly give Cena a proper send-off. Cena had to know this is so damn bad. I don't care whose idea this was. Cena had to have known this is horrendous. Your whole character is never give up. So let me go and give up as my final act. That's cinema. It's cinema. No, that's not. That's stupidity. That's not cinema. Cinema is over here. Stupidity's over here. And Helmsley has to know, as the lead guy in the company, the boss, the chief of creative and content is what his title is. Cool. Be the chief, be the leader. Understand that that's a finish that is going to ruin an entire event, ruin the ending of an amazing career, and ruin how the people that at least still did look up to you, ruin how they view you. And he went ahead and did it anyway, because he's too stupid to understand any of this. But at least an entire wrestling world now understands the worst booker on the planet of pro wrestling is Paul Levesque McMahon. The dumbest person in pro wrestling is Paul Levesque McMahon. He has no business in this position. He has no business being in a wrestling promotion in any way. Not even as a manager, not as the janitor at the headquarters. Not landscaping, not the lunch lady. Not as a chauffeur. Not a limo driver, not an Uber driver. He needs to be away from WWE. Because we need to get the WWE that we all once fell in love with, we need to get that somehow back. The first half an hour, man, the pomp and circumstance, the setup to Gunther and Cena tonight, the beginnings of the match, the end of the match, before the actual finish, it was everything I loved about WWE, despite Helmsley trying to ruin it every which way. But he couldn't help himself, and he had to remind you. Don't get your hopes up too high. Don't start having too much fun. Because I'm going to ruin it all with my stupidity. That's Helmsley's MO. That's the show, man. It goes off the air with John Cena literally taking off his shoes and his elbow, his wrist pads. What do you call them? Wrists. What are they, man? They're not pads. Wristbands? Bands. There you go. I don't know what he's doing. Him and Roman Reigns are always walking around without shoes. Put your shoes on, man. Take your little wristbands off. Keep your shoes on. Nobody's going to fault you if you want to walk to the back with your shoes on. Keep some dignity, man. So he's walking around in his little Cena socks. He gives one final bow at the top of the ramp. And then he walks off. And then you can start to hear the crowd, because Helmsley's still left behind with everybody. You can start to hear the crowd start to boo again. They quickly forgot about Cena's legendary career, and they went right back to hating Helmsley. I'm trying to fathom all this, guys. The next upload, we'll take the discussion in a few other ways. But right now, I know it may have seemed all over the place because I'm trying to comprehend all this. I'm taking what I saw tonight, I'm putting it with everything else that I've seen with Helmsley over the decades, and I'm furious. It's confusing. None of it makes sense. That's WWE today. That's Helmsley's WWE. It's not going to get any better. It's only going to get worse in 2026. Ratings are down dramatically. Tragically. Nearly 50%. Merchandise sales, if you take away John Cena's shirts, merchandise is down 40%. Year over year, if you take away Cena's sales. They rested everything on that. Live events, down 45% in sellouts from just 1 year ago. Every metric is backwards. And then 2026, expect it to get worse, because now the entire wrestling world just found out just how big of a fraud Helmsley is. That was Saturday night's main event. I'm going to try to comprehend more. I'll try to get more info out to you guys as I get it. But Helmsley, man, he really fucked up this time. And this time, you can't repair it. Until next time. And there will be that next time for the Amplified channel and the Amplified unit. BC saying check you. Unit salute.